thank you again for doing this. I can't wait to share with our audience the amazing value you're going to provide in the whole business intelligence career field. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Yudi J.
Yeah, thanks. So let's just dive into your intro. Like, where are you from? What do you do right now? And all your like fancy things about your introduction.
So I grew up in Singapore um, for until I was 14, and then I moved to Chennai. I lived there for 10 years before moving to the US. So, and I did my engineering in Anna University, Gindi, in the College of Engineering, Gindi campus. And after that, I worked for a couple of years in a business intelligence company. Um, and then I moved
In
to the
India.
in India, in Chennai.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. And then as you know, I applied for several colleges across the country, not specifically to the US. I focused on Hong Kong because I was interested in Hong Kong University of Science and Technology and several other schools.
Mm.
But UTD gave me the best value for money and a good scholarship. And I liked the program a lot as such because it specifically catered to what I need. So that got me here.
Got it. How many years of experience did you have before you did your masters?
About 2.5 years of experience.
2.5, and that experience was what role? Like what position?
Business intelligence analyst.
Business intelligence analyst. Okay. How was? I'm more curious to know. You grew up as in you were born and brought up in Singapore.
Yes, I moved to Singapore when I was a kid.
Okay, so
And
you were born in India, then moved
Chennai.
to Singapore, and then went back
Yes.
to in Chennai. What was the culture shock like for you?
It was a big shock. So I moved in between ninth grade, right?
Yeah.
And it was a very sudden move because my dad got a job opportunity in China. So he shifted to China. And all of a sudden, within 4 days, my parents decided I'm going to Chennai. I'm going to stay with my grandparents and I'm going to attend school in Chennai. So day one of arriving in Chennai, I remember I took a Jet Airways flight back from Singapore to Chennai and I landed around 10, went home, took a shower. They took me to school at noon and said, "Hey, this is your classroom." Until then, I have never seen wooden benches. I have never seen a chalk piece and a blackboard. Right?
Wow.
Uh,
Really? So what do Singapore has?
it didn't have wooden benches, but classrooms were similar to how the colleges are out here. And
Gotcha.
it was
Like
all.
more modern projectors and like whiteboards instead of like chalkboard.
Yes,
Got
exactly.
it.
And it was a big culture shock initially because for the first year and a half, I wasn't as fluent in local Tamil as I am right now because it's what we used to speak at home, right? So there was a little bit of a language-ish barrier, cultural barrier, and stuff like that. So, that was a little tough for about a year and a half. But in my 11th and 12th grade, I moved to an international school in Chennai.
Oh,
And
nice.
that really eased things out and helped me shape up a lot of things that happened after that. And then in college, I went to a reality show called Airtel Super Singer, which is equal of Indian Idol in Tamil. I was a
Wow.
semi-finalist out there, so that just helped me shape my journey. Took it to different places before it.
Wow. That is awesome, man. That is so cool. I didn't know that. So this is good. I mean, I'm glad you're a celebrity. So thank you
I,
for joining this.
it was a difficult decision to take up academics because I
Why
had
did you do that? Why did you not keep pursuing singing?
so a couple of reasons, right? First up, all through my journey in Super Singer, I was also doing my engineering degree, and I felt that balance is what enabled me to do well in both, knowing that I do not have undue pressure in one because I potentially have the other. So it was a unique mix of that helped me get through that. And even after that, a lot of colleagues who were part of the show, now some of them are big playback singers back in India, but good amount of them, except me and another guy, most of them went directly into the field, and we were still working and also doing recording opportunities as it came. I had two Tamil movie songs that I sang in one released in 2014 and one in 15. So I did have.
Can you reveal the name or no?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was released long back. One was a movie called Tottal Thodarum. It's a Tamil movie. There's a song in that, and another movie called Kadal Munnetra Kazhagam. So there are two Tamil movies, and I'll be happy to share the link with you.
Of
But
course, of course. Yeah.
And after that, so there was a point of time when I was thinking, okay, I like to sing, I love singing. I had a band and we used to go perform in a lot of shows, marriage shows, a little bit of corporate shows, etc. But the very fact that I had a day job and I was able to do all of this in the evening and extensively over the weekends really helped me feel good about life. I
Mm.
felt busy all the time and I felt enriched all the time. So
Right.
that was a combination that I loved. And so I just wanted to carry on with that. And even today, I mean, I realized, okay, I moved here, I studied, my life has changed, and but I still have my music, I still collaborate with my musician friends, and things just keep going on. So that
Yeah,
that was one
yeah.
of my reasons. Yeah.
I'll definitely be putting your Instagram ID. You have to check out, and all the other IDs for people to check out. You have a very beautiful voice
Thank
and,
you. Thank you.
and
Bye.
beautiful produced music. So, awesome job on that. So now coming back to academics, what was your GRE TOEFL score before for applying?
My GRE was 317. My TOEFL was 112.
Wow. Okay, you're like a scholar type of
Arre.
person. And then what was your bachelor score? Like
My bachelor's
aggregate? Yeah,
7.4.
7.4. Okay, cool.
Yes.
And then 2.5 years of
Work
your,
experience.
yeah. What colleges did you apply for in
So I
United States at
I,
least?
I I did apply for quite a few colleges. I did have the Georgia Techs, and I even put in an application for Stanford just because I loved it. But then I had UConn in my list. I had UTD, I had UC San Diego, and Louisiana State University. So these were the schools that I applied, and the reason why I applied to these schools were taking at least as per 2014 2015's data, the best mix of companies that do analytics, advanced analytics solutions, and universities having a stream that is not specifically MIS, but within MIS an actual technical field. So having narrowed that down, I took it on to this. I mean, because I was pretty clear about what I wanted to study and potentially work in. So
What was that? What was the thing which you wanted to study?
yes. So in most courses that teach business analytics as such, right, there is a good emphasis on your R, your Pythons, and your advanced analytics, but there is not much of emphasis on data visualization and actual data mining and ETL and stuff like this. So that is something that I really wanted to focus on at that point of time. So I'd gone through the curriculum of most of these schools, looked at what courses they have, and tried to download as many syllabuses as possible, and these kind of things. And I did my homework before taking that choice. And I was, I mean, it was a very personal and informed choice that I wanted a school that does this.
Yeah, yeah. So, and what admits did you get out of those?
So I got an admit in UConn, I got UTD, I got Louisiana State University, and I got UC San Diego.
Oh, wow. So you skipped UC San Diego and you went for UTD.
Yes, but
That's a
UC San Diego, I mean, I didn't get a scholarship there, so that kind of weighed on my
right, right.
options.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. Like, why did you pick UTD then?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of reasons, right? That was probably my number two in my pick for several things. I mean, I also personally kept in mind where there is a good Tamil and Indian population where I can continue pursuing my music, where I potentially have a chance. And out of that, Dallas, San Diego, and LA, these stood out definitely among the other options that I had.
Yeah.
So keeping those cultural aspects, keeping all of that, it was a decision that I took. Yeah.
Okay. And you keep mentioning scholarships. What scholarship did UTD offered you?
So a couple of things. One was the Dean's Excellence Scholarship that UTD has, and also, so I had taken a completely different route of trying to reach out to professors who were in the arts and science department about audio engineering. Because in Chennai, I also worked as an audio engineer in a studio because I was really passionate about it. I mean, I worked
Hmm.
pro bono, but I really learned a lot. And
Yeah.
in UTD, I also managed to get in touch with a professor where I could get an on-campus job as an audio engineer. So that, along with the Dean's Excellence Scholarship, pretty much almost covered up my complete tuition. So that was the math, and luckily things fell in place. Yeah.
So, what did you do to apply for Dean's Excellence Scholarship?
So in UTD, these scholarships are there year long, but it comes on a first come first serve basis. So and they also have a combination of your your GRE and TOEFL scores, your educational scores, and your SOP. So you don't need to do anything separate for that, but have one that really explains why you deserve it and what value would you bring to the school. So that's the question that they literally ask in that.
And
And
so do you have to like apply for it or
yes,
okay,
you have to separately apply for it.
got it. And
And
that application is done while you are applying for education admissions?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay,
And
cool.
I mean, you can also apply for it after you get an admit, but again, first come first serve basis is always better based on what I understood after coming here.
Right, right. And you said that there are others as well. So I'm
Yes,
assuming all the list of scholarship available, they must have listed somewhere on UTD website.
yes.
Okay.
I mean, there are only a few that are eligible for international students. So
Hmm.
you sum it down to that, and I mean, professors in UTD were, I mean, and UCSD also were, they were very responsive when I reached out to them prior to that.
What did you say in your email that you want to reach out to audio engineer professor and ask for a job?
Yeah, I mean, I initially I was just looking around at what UTD has, and they had a tech department, audio technology department, and in the audio technology department, they had an audio lab. And this, as soon as I got my admit into UTD, and when I accepted it, I got access into the iComet, that's the career and all portal within UTD. And after going in, I was just looking out what opportunities they have in such places. And that particular opportunity was available only to masters and PhD students in information systems, in arts and science, not for information systems and business schools.
Yeah,
Essentially, it is available only for students of that department. But
yeah.
there were two professors, Professor Roger Molina and Professor Cassini. I had reached out to them and I told them that I've worked in a studio. These are the technologies that I've used, and there was something called creative disturbance. It's essentially a podcast studio where they try to integrate people of all sorts of fields um,
Mhm.
into it, and that's essentially what that is. So in that department, I got a job as a recording engineer. I record. I used to edit, mix audio, with music and make the final. So that was kind of what I did. So, but yes, when I reached out to the professor, I did tell him that, look, this is what I'm coming to study for, but this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I made a little CV and cover letter pertaining to that job if I was a student applying for that job, and I had emailed that along to him. And I think
Yeah,
that he really appreciated the fact that I had a cover letter typed out specifically to what he was asking for and what
nice.
that role was asking for. So I mean, and I mean, I had no hopes. I might get it, I might not get it, and stuff like
Right.
that. But it ended up being a blessing. Yes.
Nice. And that is what I recommend, and I say it in my videos as well. Like, what are you doing different than other people? A lot of people ask me like, how do I get it? Like, how do I get? This is exactly what you need to do. Is where you make an effort to reaching out to professors and talking to seniors and alumni, and just like Ganesh said that even though the job clearly said that it's only for master's students or PhD students, arts and science,
Audio. Yeah.
or
ATech.
arts and ATech department, but still he emailed and professor is like, I don't care where your background is, looks like you are eligible, I'll take it. So that's awesome. That's so inspiring to me and hopefully to other students that they can take such risk to email and what's the worst will happen? Professor will not respond and they'll say, sorry, this is only eligible for that, but at least you tried. So that's awesome, man. Anyway, so now you got your UTD admits, you figured out that's where you want to go, you have a job already in hand on campus, and then you have your scholarship also. Did you get the scholarship before you went?
Yeah. I mean, it was in state for the first year. Essentially, that's what it covered. Um,
Okay, okay.
so that's essentially what I mean. That's not what it implies, but effectively, that's what it is.
Right,
Yes.
right. Okay. And so how was your visa interview?
So my visa interview was pretty straightforward, actually. He was asking me what do you do, why do you want to study, and And then I explained to him, I this is where I'm from, this is what I did. I'm working in a business intelligence company, and so I'm exactly sure about what I want to study. And somehow the conversation also went on to say I'm a musician, and um, it's also something that I love taking care of. I don't think they really asked me much more after that, and he's like, enjoy your time in the United States. So
Nice. That's awesome. So now the trick is like spend a lot of time in Singapore, then you spend 10 years in Chennai. Now again you're going to another country, so another culture. How is that as a culture difference?
So, a couple of things. I was probably very lucky to move to Dallas, where it's heavily Indian, right?
Mm.
UTD is heavily Indian. So, all my roommates, I mean, I had two roommates from Chennai with the same name called Sairam. It's that, it was that Indian, right? So I loved the fact that I was working in a lab which had a very diverse culture. I mean, there were people from all over the world, literally four continents, sitting out there and working. At the same time, I had classmates and roommates who were Indians. So it was a nice mix where I had a good taste of both, and I was able to kind of ease into it. So Dallas was not quite a culture shock as much as
Other
Chennai was for me when I moved from Singapore.
got it. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So, what was your cost of living for you today as a student, if you remember? I know it's like 5 years back, but
Yeah. So I think the first year I stayed in an apartment, two-bedroom apartment, and we were four of us. Again, we got very lucky. There was a community called Northside that was just built. We were the first occupants of that place, so it was really clean, no bed bugs, no nothing. And I think we paid $400 a head for rent.
okay.
It was 1,600 for that place, and plus utilities and stuff. Um, and for the and for the second year in the same community, we had to move into another apartment, which was two-bedroom but bigger, but we were five of us. So that also worked out to be around the same. But yeah, roughly about $400. And I managed to buy a bicycle used in my first semester, and used to bike around everywhere
Yeah.
and go to all of that. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. So would you say like your cost of living per month or like living expense per month would be roughly about 600 to $800, including
Roughly
food?
about eight hundred
Yeah,
dollars at best.
yeah. Okay. And since you had your job on campus and through you already mentioned through your scholarship, it was almost covering all of it. Would you say?
Not my living, but my complete tuition almost. Not
Got
quite
it.
my living, but in the second year, from my summer of my first year and through the second year, I interned for that 12-month period. So that really helped. So that covered everything.
Evan, can you explain the course structure of your major?
Absolutely. I mean, if I quite remember right, there were four electives that we could take, four mandatory papers, and a couple of other papers. But among the electives, I and UTD in the MIS stream, at least then, I'm not sure if things have changed right now, but they had five different streams where you could focus on business intelligence, or you could focus on ERP, you could focus on cloud and security, and you could diversify yourself. So I had focused my courses around visualization, data visualization, ETL, and Java, just because I was really curious about understanding what happens behind the scene, not because I really wanted to do it for my work. So I had put it such that, okay, if I am saying that I am a business intelligence guy, I have 2.5 years of experience, I have these, and I need projects in latest tools and technology to back me up. So in that case, if I want an internship in my second year, within my first semester, I ought to have courses where I have the opportunity to build dashboards and reports above what is taught that can back me up. So when you get an interview, it really helped that you go above the gun and you say, hey, this is what was taught, this is what I had in my previous experience, and this is the outcome that I have today, and this is what I can translate as some sort of value to you. So I think a combination of that is how I determine how I wanted to choose my courses. And unless I was completely convinced about taking up a course, I did not. So I took my courses completely based on how I wanted to do it. I took organizational behavior as a course, as an elective, which very few
Oh,
people did.
wow.
But
Yeah.
I did it for a couple of reasons. First up, you know, I'm not sure it really makes too much of a difference, but I felt that course, especially the timing that it came in that semester. I mean, the classes were on Tuesday and Thursday, if I'm not wrong, helped like a beautiful stress buster between difficult classes after that. So, I mean, there is no set technique
Can,
about why
can,
you do something.
right. Can you talk about that class? Like, what did you learn in that, and what made you? I'm not. I think I understand from your philosophy why did you took it.
Mhm.
So before we talk about that, I do want to mention essentially what you said is like you were basically forming a story to narrate to hiring managers that this is why I did this. So, and the
Yes.
only reason I think the biggest reason for you to do that is because you knew what you really wanted to get into. So you knew that was the role, and that's why you were backtracking it and able to form that story. Because I always say that interviews, resume, all is storytelling. Like literally it's
Yes.
just telling your story. So that
Absolutely.
you knew your story very well. So that's awesome. Now just wanted to know more about organizational behavior.
Yes.
What did you learn in that?
So it was a class that helped talk a lot about IT ethics, about how you handle things in your organization, about professionalism, about clearly how do you split professionalism versus personal time. How do you ensure that at work, you draw a neat line, and you ensure you don't do anything that would harm your reputation in any way, sort of form. So that's essentially what that course covered, and it went into detail about case studies about particular organizations, and in the past, people who have been sued for doing some things, why were they sued, what was that. So it was a class that dived deep into telling you what you had to do. And if I look back at it, psychologically it really did make a difference. I mean, when these kind of things will not directly get you a job, but these kind of things will really help you move the needle once you move into a position. So I think
Yes,
that's
like it helps you understand the perspective of industry.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's how that course came out to be.
Awesome. So you mentioned 12 months of internship. Now that's again my curiosity kicks in. Like how before even that, how did you approach? When did you start applying for internships?
So in my first semester, I was not too active, honestly, in applying. But towards the end of the first semester in UTD, there was a career fair,
Hmm.
and I at that point of time all the booths were super crowded, etc., etc., but I did manage to get a couple of visiting cards from people who came in. And one company was Nautilus Hyosung. They are an ATM manufacturing company. Most ATMs that you see in mom and pop stores, in good amount of JP Morgan ATMs, etc., are manufactured by Hyosung. Next time you just see a random ATM, the high chance it's Hyosung, because they're one of the biggest players on that. It's a South Korean based company.
Right.
And so I had got that HR's you know
Business card.
business card, and I had shot him out an email sometime in Feb of my second semester in spring.
Cold
And
email.
not quite a cold email, because right after I got his card, I emailed him and he replied saying, "Yeah, I remember
Oh.
speaking to you." So I mean that. So I replied in that
Well,
chain.
can please take us through the conversation you had in the career fair and then the follow up, because that's very important for more of a lot of people to understand that.
Absolutely. I mean, in the career fair, they were not quite hiring for business intelligence at that point. They were more interested in software folks. But I was just talking to him, and he didn't quite know what business intelligence was at that point, because he was more a HR person. And but I had the opportunity to just quickly brief him about what I did. And you know, when Hyosung's name came out, I knew Hyosung motorcycles, and just the day before the career fair, I just went through these companies, and I knew that that's different. This is different, but most people think they are the same. So just while striking out a conversation, I was like, "Yeah, I know Hyosung Motors, but they're not the same as you guys." And that really, I think that particular line, he was really happy. Like, you probably did your homework about who we are before coming in. So it was a very general conversation, nothing specific. Not with the intention of potentially getting a job or an opportunity at all. I mean, obviously, psychologically that will be there, but when you have a conversation with him, when it was professional networking, when you introduce yourself genuinely, when they introduce themselves genuinely, and you understand, shake hands and walk out, that kind of a conversation, and nothing more, no resume exchanges, nothing. And after I had his business card, I just shot him out an email immediately. Say, hey, this is Ganesh. It was wonderful meeting you in the career fair, and hope we cross paths soon. And he just replied with a one word saying, "Same here. Take care."
Nice. Okay. I do want to mention this because this is exactly how my internship and my career started. So EXL, my company, was there in career fair, and it was a computer science career fair, and I was focused on project management roles or business analyst role. So I definitely went through them, and they were at that time they were only hiring for software developer, release engineering, which is DevOps, and now, and QA, quality assurance, automation tester. And basically, we had the same thing. I had the conversation. I knew a couple of people working there. There are some Indians who are working there. So I was like, oh, yeah, he's my alumni, and I talked to him just to hit the conversation. Same thing happened, and then I asked them, like, what kind of positions do you guys have any positions open right now? And they mentioned that, and then he's like, oh, is that something interest you? I said, you know what, I did my master's in computer science, and but I really feel I'm a people person, and I love working for people. And my passion lies into project management or business analyst type of role. And then I kind of did my pitch, because I was trying to sell them, is that I have done my master's in computer science, which means I have a strong technology background.
Foundation.
I understand technology, and I understand people, because I on my campus job was about that, and I had a lot of leadership experience on campus. So I said that software, and then I was like trying to make a joke, like, as you know, that software engineers can't really talk to stakeholders and people person, and then people can't really talk technology to software engineers, where I can do both. So that's why I'm looking for that kind of role. So the HR said, like, we really want to talk to you more. So she gave me her email. It's like, we don't have anything right now, but please stay in touch and send me an email, and we'll see what we can do. So same thing. I went home. I sent out a follow-up email, like, hey, remember this? And then I repeated that same line, like, I said this, and you were laughing at my thing, just to remind her that,
Yes.
yeah. And then she's like, oh, absolutely. And then she said, like, I'm gonna find out some more for you. She did, and then she reached out, like, luckily we are thinking to get a project management intern position. Would you be interested? And I was like, yep, that's how I get it. Going back to your story, what happened?
So, and then I had just reached out to him sometime later saying, hey, I'm looking out for opportunities, and, just wanted to reach out to you and see. And I was so lucky that, I mean, I don't think he didn't respond to that for a while, maybe about 2-3 weeks. And right when the first week of summer, of that summer started, I had initially planned to continue working in the studio. So my good friend from undergrad and I decided to take a 10-day trip to Chicago and Wisconsin, Madison, etc., to go see friends, come back and continue working in the studio. So I really wanted a break, and it was a beautiful trip that we did. But we just decided to go there. And one fine day, while in that trip, I get a call, and because I had given my number in the email, I got a call saying, "Hey, the database admin guy that was working for us has left, and we are looking for someone temporarily for summer until we can find a position. So we might be willing to interview you, and are you willing to come?" I said, absolutely. And then I had traveled back to Dallas a couple of days later, and we scheduled it for that Friday. And but there were 200 employee company, as per techies are concerned, but they had about 700 to 800 service technicians. So
Yeah.
overall, not too small a company, but not too big, mid, small to medium sized
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
The interview that I had was with my manager, who is now the associate director out there. But so she was really excited about the fact that she's having some young minds who are willing to try things out. So and I think they considered 3 people or 4 people to come in for the interview, and they hired 2 of us at the end of the day. But so initially they hired me for summer, and so 40 hours through summer. And right when summer was happening, I was also able to not just manage database, but because of my experience with visualization tools, I had asked them to take a trial version of SAP Lumira at that point. They gave us 60-day trial or something. And I had built out dashboards to say, hey, you don't need to always do this in Excel. This is what you can potentially do. And I managed to have
Nice.
an opportunity. There was one meeting where the VP of service was there and managed to present that in front of that, while also mildly pitch saying, hey, as per my university regulations for the next 2 semesters, I can work 40 hours as long as I take 6 credit hours in the evening, and I can manage it, one online class, one evening class, etc. So that's how that managed to extend to fall, and then that managed to extend to spring again, and then I joined full time with them before, and I was working for a while before I switched. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you got your internship for 12 months. So is that CPT? Is that what did?
Yes, and I did it for I think 337 days, so just below the 364
That's awesome.
and then my OPT date started just 2 days after the CPT, so there's no cut in employment. So there's one day my CPT
Oh,
ended,
so
and
you did CPT. So while you were working, you also were taking part-time classes, and then
yes,
you finished your education as soon as your internship was done, and then you
yes, and
jumped
I
the.
joined full time straight with them. Yes,
Wow, that
both semesters I took one online class and one in-person class. The in-person was 7 to 9:45, I guess, at
and did you have to take like 30 credits total?
36, 36
30,
credits total.
36.
So
Okay.
I loaded up my first couple of semesters, and then I took it easy after that.
Got it. Wow. So you must have done like more than 20 credits in your first two semester.
Yeah, I did 12 credits in my first semester and 9 in my second. So yes,
Okay, so 21,
yes,
right?
21.
Do you have any advice for students who are planning to come or who are right now
Yes.
in United States wanting to pursue internship, or like what's the words of wisdom for them?
In couple of things, right? Keep One thing is always keep loving what you do. Right? That is the end. At the end of the day, all you need is one job offer. I mean, you can apply for 1,000 opportunities. You can apply for 500 opportunities, but all you need is one, and you never know how that comes your way. As long as you keep doing your process right, you will land in a place. I mean, it has been happening for years, and people have found their way. So with that mindset that yes, people have found their way, I will have my own way.
Mhm.
And there's nothing wrong in interning for a small company or a big company. In fact, everything has its own plus and minus. If you intern for a small company and you've actually brought in so much value because you can move the needle so easily. If I do something small, I can go talk straight to the director, and that's not something that I can do in much bigger companies, right? So
Yeah.
when you're able to do that and move the needle easily, it makes a big difference. So one thing is just keep trusting your process and always love what you do. So in my first semester when I was there, I used to spend a lot of time singing because I love to sing. I had a few friends in apartment communities nearby, etc. And we used to just go down, and Fridays and evenings we used to sing. I used to sing, sit around with them, just enjoy what you do. It's not like I didn't enjoy. I had a lot of fun. At the same time, I had put in the effort to, we used to play so much of FIFA all through those couple of years. So there was a lot of fun involved. So just keep doing. Never lose your happiness for anything, because that is what will give you fuel when times are tough.
Mhm.
And so that's one thing. And in anything that you do, if you are convinced about it, go for it. There is no need to follow herd. There's no need to have herd mentality. Someone else does something, there is no need for you to do it unless you are convinced about it. And especially with resumes and stuff, I see a lot of people, if someone got a job, they straight take his resume, change the stuff, and go apply. That is not going to work. That's absolutely not going to work
Yeah.
unless you carve out your own way of doing it. I mean, there are
Mhm.
some things, right? Your resume has to be legible in your ATS system, so those are kind of things you've got to do, but nothing more than that. There is nothing right, there's nothing wrong about
Right.
doing that.
Right.
So just keep going through that process, keep enjoying. Our mind will always want to look for the next big thing, man. So when we are interning in a small company, our mind will automatically say, okay, I want a full-time job in a bigger company. Then when you do that, our mind will automatically want to move to the next step, and that is good. That's good, but don't let that affect your current performance, and don't let that affect how well you are doing today, because this is what will speak for you. If you get another interview opportunity, if you're able to tell them that, hey, I managed to get into a company that was, in my case, using Microsoft Access and complete Excel spreadsheets, here is my return of investment for them at the end of 1 year. They invested X amount of dollars to hire me, and they had another intern who they did. So this is what they put in. This is the end result that they got. So if you're able to quantify that, not necessarily by numbers, right, but by value proposition, then that really makes a difference. So
Yeah.
just enjoying your process and just having fun. So I think
Yeah.
that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So we're gonna do this until our next one.
Keep smiling, keep hustling, follow
Ah,
Yudi.
awesome. Awesome.